Hello everyone, welcome to KK Human Anatomy and Physiology videos, a platform where you will get interesting facts about human anatomy and physiology. In order to study brain anatomy, it is divided into three parts. They are forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. If you haven't watched the first part of brain anatomy, then I strongly recommend you to watch that introductory part before starting with this video. You will find its link in top I button as well as in description below. In this video, we are going to talk about forebrain. As we discussed in part 1 of this lecture series, prosencephalon, that is forebrain, consists of three parts: telencephalon, renencephalon, and diencephalon. Telencephalon includes cerebrum, renencephalon includes olfactory lobes, whereas the diencephalon includes epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Now let's talk about more in detail anatomy and physiology of each of these three parts. Let's start with telencephalon, which includes cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of brain, making up about 85% of total brain. Outer surface of cerebrum is called cerebral cortex, while the deep inner part is medulla. Cerebral cortex has outer thin region composed of gray matter and inner medulla composed of white matter. The gray matter of cerebral cortex consists of cell bodies of billions of neurons, along with non-myelinated fibers and dendrons, whereas white matter mainly has axons of nerve cells. When you observe the outer surface of cerebrum, which is called cerebral cortex, you will notice that it is not perfectly smooth. Instead, there are many elevations and depressions. Ridge or elevation on the surface of brain is called gyrus. Each gyrus is surrounded by depressions known as sulci. Brain gyri and sulci has two important functions. They increases the surface area of the cerebral cortex. Increasing the surface area of the brain allows more neurons to be packed into the cortex so that it can process more information. This large surface area gives us better cognition. These gyri and sulci determines intelligence. Since I have told you that it increases the surface area, and the more surface area means more neurons, and more neurons means more intelligent an individual is. Cerebrum consists of two cerebral hemispheres, right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere. These two hemispheres are separated by a long, deep fissure. Two cerebral hemispheres are internally connected by thick band of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. Corpus callosum has anterior fold called genu and posterior fold called splenium. Each cerebral hemisphere is further divided into four lobes. They are frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and a temporal lobe. Each lobe is further separated from each other by three deep sulci called fissures. Frontal lobe is separated from parietal lobe by central sulcus or central fissure, also known as a Rolando sulcus. Parieto-occipital sulcus separates occipital lobe from parietal lobe, and the temporal lobe is separated from frontal and parietal lobe by lateral sulcus, also called as Sylvian sulcus. Cerebrum serves a lot of functions. I will take another separate video in which I will explain the functions of cerebrum in detail. You will find its link in top I button as well as in description below. From this image, you will understand all the four lobes and three sulci much better. Frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. And the three sulci, central sulcus, parieto-occipital sulcus, and a lateral sulcus. In this image, look at this area. This is the area where parietal and temporal lobes meet. This area on the posterior end of lateral sulcus is called temporoparietal junction, that is TPJ. Since these three sulci are not complete, the lobes are not clearly demarcated from each other. The fifth median lobe, called insula or insular cortex, is folded deep within the lateral sulcus. Another part of forebrain is rhinencephalon, consists of olfactory lobes. When you see the ventral side of brain, it is present over here. The olfactory lobe is a pair of lobe at the anterior end of the cerebrum, that is at the front of the brain. They are highly reduced in human brain and covered by cerebrum from all sides except ventral side. Each lobe consists of olfactory peduncle and olfactory bulb. The olfactory lobe is concerned with the sense of odor, that is, sense of smell. This part of the brain receives sensations of smell. Olfaction begins when odorant molecules enter the nasal cavity through inhalation or by rising from the mouth. These molecules interact with olfactory receptors. Third part of forebrain is diencephalon. It includes epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Epithalamus is the thin non-nervous roof of diencephalon. Anteriorly, it is fused with pia mater to form the choroid plexus, and from its dorsal wall, it is connected to pineal gland. Earlier, this gland was thought to be vestigial, but later it has been found that it produces melatonin, which is sleep-inducing hormone and also related to reproductive behavior. The lateral thick wall of diencephalon form the thalami. They mainly contain gray matter. The habencular commission separate two thalami. Different parts of the brain are interconnected by RAS, that is reticular activating system, through the thalami. The primary function of thalamus is to relay motor and sensory signals to the cerebral cortex. It also regulates sleep, alertness, and wakefulness. When we talk about hypothalamus, it forms the floor of diencephalon. It is richly supplied with blood vessels. Hypothalamus is link between nervous system and endocrine system. The floor of hypothalamus continues as a downward projection called hypophyseal stalk or infundibulum, which connects it to hypophyses both physically and functionally by secretion of neurotransmitter. There is a pair of two mammillary bodies and crossing of two optic nerves in the inferior surface of thalamus. If we talk about functions of hypothalamus, then it is responsible for homeostasis, equilibrium of the body. It is also involved in the production of oxytocin and vasopressin. Hypothalamus also regulates heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, body temperature, body and electrolyte balance. It has centers for hunger, thirst, sleep, secretion of glands of stomach and intestine. It also produces neurohormones that stimulate pituitary gland. It also produces neurohormones that stimulate pituitary gland. It appears to be responsible for emotional reactions, motivational drives, and memory. Here comes the summary of this video. We have discussed the forebrain in detail. It consists of three parts. The first is telencephalon, which includes cerebrum. Second is rhinencephalon, which includes olfactory lobes. And the third is diencephalon, which includes epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. We have also discussed each of these three parts in detail. Hope you understood well. In my second part of this brain anatomy series, you will get detailed information about midbrain, that is mesencephalon. If you like this video, then subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Do like, comment and share this video. For more updates, join the forum and group, visit my Facebook page. I have provided the link in description below. Have a happy learning.